It's the mindset in which we choose will determine on how far we go in life, the things that we accomplish. It's the mindset in which we choose. Now, I want to ask you a question. Who helped you get to where you're at today? Because you didn't get there by yourself. I know somewhere, somehow, some time ago, somebody inspired you to challenge you to go past average, to be more than you ever thought you could be. Do you remember who they are? Can you see their face? Do you know their names? Don't forget who helped you to get to where you're at today. And if you have an opportunity to go back and to thank them, take it. But there was one particular lady named Mrs. Wilmore. She was a teacher. If you would ask her what she taught, she'd look at you and say, I teach students. She wouldn't tell you what subject. She says, I teach students. I have a gift called dyslexic. It means I see things differently. It means I could have drawn that picture for you this morning upside down if I wanted to. I could see it just as easy. But when it comes to math and reading and all those things, they were a challenge. Some people saw it as a handicap, but I've always seen it as a gift because I could see things that other people didn't quite see. Over time, I've learned that famous people have had dyslexics and challenges, their own challenges. People like Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, famous people, okay, have had dyslexic. But do you realize that good things can come out of hard places? You know that. And some of you this morning needed to hear that good things can come out of hard places. Some of you in this room have ideas that need to come to life. Some of you have ideas and see things that you can see how things could be better done. And you know what? It will stay ideas until you walk toward it. It was just the way she carried herself that you knew that she was a person of influence and a person that you wanted to get to know and a person that you respected. And she walked into that room and she walked about halfway and she stopped and she turned and she looked at the drawing that I had successfully covered over every problem. And she just stood there looking at it. And some of my friends kept looking at me. And I kept looking at them going, stop looking at me, man. Stop it. She walks around her desk. She had an old desk, had a bunch of papers and books and pencils on it. And she takes a chair, an old oak chair, and she takes it and she swings it around to the front of the room and she plants it, and very ladylike, very politely, she quietly sits in the chair. Doesn't say a word. Nobody said anything. Nobody was sure exactly what to do. We just sat there. 5 minutes. 7 minutes go by. Nobody could see any of the problems on the chalkboard. We just anticipating what was going to happen next. Then the bell rang. Mrs. Wilmore, she jumps up, she runs over to the door, she blocks the door. Blocks it. Students, we're going to do something a little different today. I'm going to stand over here by this door, and as you exit this room, I want you to walk out in a single filed line. Can we do that? Yes, we can. And when you walk by me, I want to see the palms of your hands. Oh, shoot. Is she serious? If she sees the palms of my hands, she'll see the chalk that's on my hands, and she'll know that I was the one that drew over the homework assignment. Shoot. She's dadgummit. Do you know who the first person out of that room was? Who? Who said Jimmy? Do you know him? Because he left me there. He left me there.
He was your best friend.
I thought so too.
He was showing you where to go.
But you know what Jimmy taught me?
What's that?
Jimmy taught me, even though it was his idea, I was responsible for my own actions. We make the mistake and we fail, but we need to fail quickly. Learn from it, move. What's he say about you drawing over the homework assignment? I said, man, she didn't say nothing. I got away with it. Billy's real smart, and he goes, oh, you're going to get it tomorrow. I said, what are you talking about? He says, you just wait and see. You're going to get it tomorrow. Because all of us know that sometimes the decisions that we make today are going to come back to us tomorrow. But I kept remembering that moment. That moment when I stood up and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. That moment that I changed my perspective. When I changed my mindset. You look like a smart man.
Yes.
You look like one. And you would have not done this, Chip, because you're smart. But I thought to myself, as I'm sitting there, if I got away with it once, I'd get away with it again. That's what I thought. Now, you wouldn't have thought that because you're smart. You would have sat there, you would have done the homework and done what you're supposed to do. But I didn't know any better. See, sometimes when good isn't good enough, you have to be different. You need to write that down. It's true. Because sometimes good isn't good enough. You've got to be different. So when you can set yourself apart and be different, that's where you can create the value, and then you can serve that to other people. And that's how you will be remembered. Because if we're competing in other industries and we're all the same, why would anybody go to you? It's where we need to spend our time is where we're different. See, I want to tell you, Chip, my weaknesses have become my strength because my mindset changed. But I stood up. The little shy, timid, insecure little dyslexic boy, I stood up again. I didn't know any better. And the moment that I changed my perspective, my mindset changed, and I looked toward that chalkboard, I could see another picture. Not what it was, but what it could be. I could see it. And yes, it was out of focus, and yes, it was fuzzy, but there was enough there that was intriguing to me that I had to create it. It had to come to life, and I felt it was my job to bring it to life until I started to do that most important thing, which was to move toward it. That's the most important thing. And I began to move toward it, and every step I took, that picture got clearer and clearer in my mind, and then I stopped because I could not believe what I was looking at. Could not. There on the bottom of that chalkboard was a chalk tray about 3 inches wide. And this time, this time there were 24 different colors of chalks. Somebody was speaking my language. And I looked at those and I thought to myself, oh, happy day. This is going to be fun. And I reached down and I grabbed 3 pieces of chalk in each hand and I started doing a little dance. Come on, baby. Come on. Yeah. I'm working it. And I tell you, I promise you that if it would have happened today, I would have been up there doing this thing. Okay? I would have. I said, yeah. And I grabbed that chalk and somebody I felt gave me permission to be me. For the first time, I felt I could be me. Do you know what It feels like when somebody empowers you, gives you the authority, gives you the respect, gives you what you need to be you. Because so many of us tried to be like them. Why do we want to be like them? See, in the art world, it's more valuable to be an original than it is to be a copycat. What we need is more of you. What your industry needs, what your company needs is more of you. Your ideas, your personality, who you are. Serve it. And Mrs. Wilmore wasn't anywhere to be found, but I was learning something there. You know what I was learning? I was learning that it was more important to focus on my strengths than it was to try to fix my weaknesses. Because if we try to, see, we all have weaknesses, you know that. And if we spend a lot of time trying to fix our weaknesses, at best, you'll become average. At best, you'll become average. And nobody wants to become average. There's an enemy called average. And if somebody tells you, oh, that's good enough, there should be those beeping signs going off in the back of your mind. Beep, beep, beep. Because if you push it a little bit further, you can actually go from good to great, just a little bit more, but do not become average. Because there's that enemy that says, oh, that's good enough. Don't settle for that. What makes you different can make you great. What makes you different can make you great. It's just finding that uniqueness and turning that uniqueness into value, and then you serve it to as many people as you possibly can. I'm going to tell you where the best ideas are. This is $1 million idea. Hold on. The best ideas are parked right next to the most foolish ideas. Hear what I say. The best ideas are parked next to the foolish ideas. What happens is that we get an idea and we judge it too quickly. We judge it way too quickly. You know what the enemy of a good idea is, or the mindset that is when somebody says, oh, we've done it before that way. Yeah, we tried it once back then. And we judge it before it even gives us life. But the best ideas are parked right next to the most foolish ideas. You're a trainer. And you're an artist. Because you're creating an environment where individuals are safe to be who they are. You give them the right skills and the right tools that they can make something, that they can create value for the customer. What an incredible job you guys have. I've had the pleasure of the last couple of days quietly spending some time with some of you and getting to know some of you. And to be honest with you, some of you are pretty crazy. I'm just being real, okay? I'm thinking, I like this group. I like this group. But do you understand the influence that you have? And so what I want you to do is to have the right perspective where you can bring the most to the table, have the right mindset. You don't have to have all the answers. Because here's another $1 million thing. It's more important to have the right questions than it is to have the right answer. And most of us can pull up our phones and Google anything and get an answer. But are we asking the right questions? That's where we need to spend our time. But it's what makes you different. It's that difference that we need to celebrate. Celebrate the differences. But Mrs. Wilmore had taught me that what makes you different can make you great.